This FireKeepers Casino 400 DFS Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a free Refs Are Terrorists t-shirt. Claim your shirt at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs. We're also brought to you by Naira Bets. Get your free $25 bet for the Belmont by going to nyrabets.com/SGPN25, promo code SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He is missing. Cody Zeeb is on vacation this week. He took today to go spend with the family camping, and I got to tell you, I'm a little jealous, but I completely respect the fact that sometimes you just have to get away from it all and go out into nature and actually enjoy the world at large and not just sit here in front of a computer screen. So we miss Cody. We're going to miss him today. I'm rolling solo. I don't know that I've ever done this. I know Cody's done some solo shows before, but I don't think I've ever done a solo show before. So for those of you who are out there in the chat, by all means, please hit us up because I definitely could use a couple extra minutes to fill, I'm sure, as we are. But Cody did give me his favorite DFS plays and his favorite Underdog Fantasy plays for the Michigan International Speedway, which is exactly what we are doing today, what I am doing today. So as we always do on the last show of the week, we'll give you our favorite Underdog Fantasy plays and our favorite DFS plays for this slate, trying to win you some money. It's been an absolutely crazy season this year. There've been a lot of twists, a lot of turns, and we just look to continue having fun with DFS and with Underdog Fantasy because that is what we are here to do. All right, so truck practice already underway and already finished, and they'll be doing the qualifying for that tomorrow. Remember, it's just a 2-race slate. It is just the trucks and the Cup Series as the Xfinity get well rested as they move on to Mexico City for next week, but there is truck DFS. We just obviously don't give you our truck picks anymore. And of course, there is truck underdog as well later on. So make sure you jump on that when the mood arises. We have our betting picks already in the can for both the trucks and the Cup Series. So go back, listen to those if you want to hear a few more of our takes on some of these drivers that we're about to give you, and also some drivers that we don't talk about on the DFS episode. Because if you're new to the show, we give you our favorite betting picks early in the week, and sometimes those betting picks and these DFS picks don't necessarily always coincide. It's just one of those things where sometimes a betting number or a DFS number just doesn't make it to where you can play either one of them at the same time, or sometimes they do. Especially in the case of underdog, when you can actually pick whether or not a driver is going to go worse than that position. In betting, you're not necessarily betting on that. You're betting for them to get in a top 10, get in a top 5, win the race or whatever, but you're not always concentrating on whether or not they're going to finish worse than. So just make sure you are keeping touch with that. And then, of course, with DFS, we like to give you guys that we don't always talk about on a day-to-day basis, because we know that a lot of these guys in the lower end of the price range, they're not always top 10 contenders, but they are good DFS plays. So again, we'll give you those, and we'll make sure we give you plenty to fill up your slate. But in the meantime, get all your free picks and podcasts for the Stanley Cup, College Baseball World Series, and NBA Finals onto the SGPN app. Get it wherever you get your apps. It is the FireKeepers Casino 400, and it is from the Michigan International Speedway in Brooklyn, Michigan. We are set for 200 laps around this 2-mile paved track for 400 miles of action. Again, these Cup guys, this is a 2-mile track. There's no real straight comp in where we're going. The 1.5 miles, yeah, you can kind of compare them in some respects to Kansas and some of these others. I know Cody loves to call Kansas the mini Michigan. And really, again, the sort of banking of these tracks is what makes it similar. But we don't have a 2-mile track like this on the circuit. This is sort of a lone thing. And of course, it's so unique that the Xfinity racers last year used a super speedway package on this one just to try it out. And of course, now this year they're not racing on this track. So I don't know what that means. Read into what you want. But I do know that, again, this is just sort of a unique track in and of itself. It takes a lot of discipline and just, a lot of talent to get around this track at the speeds that they get at. In fact, in the last race here in Michigan in 2024, again, they only come here once a year, once a season, and we don't really get a whole lot of data to collect on that one. But the average speed of this race, 135.675. The margin of victory was 0.168 between Tyler Reddick and William Byron. So and it came down to the very end in this race, and it could very likely do that again. We've seen a lot of great race car drivers doing a lot of great racing things. So let's just start. I mean, Cody's not here. I don't have the banter. I got to give you the picks, right? This is straight to the picks type of an episode, and so we will do exactly that. Cody, so as we always do, we give you our high-price driver, our mid-tier driver, and our low-price drivers. So Cody started out with Denny Hamlin, suggesting Denny Hamlin as his high-price driver at $10,700. Denny Hamlin, one of those perplexing guys, because he did just go through a pretty rough stretch, right? At Texas, finished 38th. He started 8th, finished 38th. Kansas started 14th, finished 36th. Charlotte started 20, finished 16th. Not really great runs for Denny Hamlin, but then he pops up and gets a 3rd place at Nashville, bookended by a 2nd place at Bristol, back-to-back wins at Darlington and Martinsville. So Denny Hamlin's just been all over the map this season, and it's kind of tough because you expect Denny Hamlin to be one of those consistent drivers each and every week. However, he just hasn't shown it this week. Although if you look at his speed rankings here as our iFantasy race speed rankings, Denny Hamlin, not really fast at this track. He's actually mired down at about 20th in total speed ranking at Michigan. So really what Cody's banking on is that he gets you a pretty decent finish as he's done. He ranks 1st in the next gen average finishes on this track, 3rd in 2022, 3rd in 2023, 9th in 2024 for an average finish. The best actually of all active drivers here with a 5th place average finish. DraftKings wise, I mean, if you're looking for DraftKings points, he got you 30 in 2024, and then in 2023 he got you 55, and then in 2022 he got you 71. It was a decline from 2022 to 2024. However, I guess Denny Hamlin, Cody's banking on Denny Hamlin to make a comeback and to actually be better than he was in the last 3 races and really just build off of that momentum that he had off of the 2nd place finish at Nashville. But I don't know. I feel like I have to disagree with Cody on this one, only because he's not here and he can't defend himself. But, for me, it's Denny Hamlin, and he gets in his head a lot. Now this lawsuit, I guess maybe Cody's banking on the fact that the lawsuit is going to really fire him up, and what's been going on in the courts for them is going to give him a little bit of a boost, I suppose. I don't know, an edge, a fire to try to say, you guys are starting to screw me over, so I'm just going to drive like a bat out of hell. I don't know what that is. All I know is that Cody believes in Denny Hamlin this week to the tune of $10,700. And we're going to roll with him as his high price driver. For me, Ryan Blaney. I bring this guy's name up almost every single week, but you can't not bring his name up almost every single week. He's got an average finish this season of 16.6. Of course, that doesn't tell the story because he, like Denny Hamlin, fell on some hard times with a 28th place. Well, we can go back to even Coda, 19th place at Coda, 28th at Phoenix, 35th at Vegas, 36th at Homestead. But ever since then, he's been really building up some steam. 11th at Martinsville, 5th at Darlington, 5th at Bristol. Bad day at Talladega. It's a super speedway, like Cody says. It happens. 3rd at Texas, 3rd at Kansas, 38th at Charlotte, and then he won at Nashville. Do I think he's going to win this race? Well, listen to the betting episode. I make kind of a little bit of a compelling argument for that. However, I don't need him to win the race in this one. I just need him to be fast. I just need him to really pick up the speed at where he's at. Ryan Blaney, 4th in the overall total speed rankings on this one. So when we talk about speed, I mean, you score DFS in fast laps, you score DFS in laps led and place differential as well. But if you get a guy that qualifies well and can lead laps and turn fast laps, then that is certainly somebody worth having. Ryan Blaney, average finish in 7th overall as far as where he sits in the standings. 10.7 is his average finisher, 5th in 2022, 9th in 2023. A rough race last year, 2024. He finished in 18th. What does that mean in terms of fantasy points for Ryan Blaney? 19.65 in 2024. Remember, again, that was a pretty bad finish for Ryan Blaney there. And then Ryan Blaney got you 36.6 points in 2023. He got you 59.35 points, which was the 3rd most points on the slate. Started 24th, finished 5th, got you 3 fast laps in that race. I mean, like I said, Ryan Blaney is just one of those drivers that you could almost put in your DFS lineup every single week, and he'll give you something, right? It's not a matter of he's going to sit there and lose you a ton of points week after week after week. And these expensive drivers like Kyle Larson, okay, he's probably going to be a really good driver on this track, but he's $11,000 right now. Denny Hamlin, Cody just gave him out. I can see that too. $200 left for $200 less rather for Ryan Blaney. Okay, I mean, that's the point I'm making. Christopher Bell at 10-2, which, by the way, Marcus in the chat already claiming Christopher Bell's victory. So, Marcus, we see you. We know that you love you some Christopher Bell, and we're kind of on that as well. But for Ryan Blaney, I mean, he got you 119 points last week at Nashville. Like I said, bombed the week before, got you minus 14. But in Kansas, 52. In Texas, 69. At Bristol, 71. I mean, this is what we're seeing out of him. 41.1 average points per race for Ryan Blaney. Look, this is probably going to end up being a Ford race because we are in Ford's backyard. So, I mean, I'm going to go heavy Ford. I'm really going heavy Ford, in fact, in my DFS lineups and not necessarily in the underdog side of this, but I'm going Ford heavy in the DFS lineups because we know that Ford has won. I mean, Toyota broke the streak last year, but Ford had won, a ton of races before this one. And so to me, I think Ford reclaims it. They're always coming out and they're always showing out at their home track. So I like Ryan Blaney. I like him at 10-5. I mean, you're going to have to pick one of these expensive drivers because they're going to probably dominate this race, one of them. And my money's on Ryan Blaney. All right. Cody is going down to his mid-tier driver, Chris Buescher. You know, Cody loves him some RFK cars. Absolutely love RFK, and he is just showing it here with his Chris Buescher love. Chris Buescher, average finish this season of 15.9. I mean, the last couple of races have been tough for him. He started 4th in Charlotte, finished 22nd. Started 10th in Nashville, finished 14th. But 8th place at Kansas, that's a good finish there. And, of course, as you know, Cody loves to bring it up. Mini Michigan is Kansas, so an 8th place there after starting 2nd place. Not a bad finish. He looked at 13th in Las Vegas, 6th at Miami, 6th at Darlington. Some solid finishes for Christopher Buescher along the way, and it makes you a little confident to put these guys. And I know that everybody in the Discord right now is absolutely in love with Chris Buescher and in love with Brad Keselowski. There are a ton of those guys floating around out there that love them some RFK. Chris Buescher in 9th overall in total speed rankings on this chart, on the heat chart for iFantasy Race. The only problem is I don't know. For me, like Chris Buescher got you 56 points in 2024 here on this track. and that's fine. That's what you're hoping for. 67.3 the year or the 2023 season, and then he fell on a hard times 30.7. Still not bad though for what you're paying for him at $7,800. You would take about a 30-point day out of that. So in the 3 next gen, pretty much the next gen races on this one, Chris Buescher's been delivering for you. So I see no reason why you shouldn't tail Cody on this Chris Buescher $7,800 bargain, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, again, with some good, solid performances on this track, DFS wise, especially, he's definitely a good play. And at some point, right, RFK has got to catch fire. They've got to figure something out. And you know, who better to do it than Chris Buescher? We've seen Ryan Preece run well. We see Brad Keselowski actually pop his head out of the woodwork here and do some good for you earlier. So yeah, I mean, Chris Buescher, his mid-tier play, I can get down with that. So $7,800 for Chris Buescher. I'm going low with my mid-tier play, and I'm going to give you Zane Smith. I'm not one to really talk about Zane Smith very often because there's really not, for me, a lot of opportunity to talk about Zane Smith because Cody always takes Zane Smith. However, I will say that I disagree with him a lot on Zane Smith because we haven't really seen a lot to be excited about. 19.9 is his average finish. I mean, he's only got one top 10 finish all season long, but for DFS purposes, I don't mind entirely a Zane Smith because he's definitely got somebody that's going to give you a decent amount of points only because he usually ends up starting somewhere in the back. Like last week in Nashville, started 27th, finished 13th, got you 45 points in that race. Charlotte, minus 14. He kind of bit you in the ass, that one. But in the All-Star Open, he got you 39. In Kansas, he got you 29. In Texas, he got you 22. He's okay, right? He's one of those guys. He's averaging 21.1 fantasy points per race. So it's not as if he's barn burning in any of this. But I will say that the Zane Smith upside is 57.45 points that he got you last year, right? With that 27th place start, 7th place finish. He did get one fast lap out of that. So, you know, it's a range of possibilities for Zane Smith, but this is a GPP play that I think has a ton of upside just in case he does happen to start way in the back and climb his way up to the front. So definitely not really that scared. I'm more with Cody on Zane Smith this week than I pretty much ever am. Because I may agree sometimes, you know, I may say, yeah. But in my head, I'm going, I don't know about Zane Smith. But this week, I'm going with Zane Smith. And Cody can go, I don't know about Zane Smith. Maybe he'll agree with me. I don't know. But you know, he'll tell me when he listens to this episode after he gets back into civilization, and we'll go from there. So, all right. I got some low price drivers for you in a second. But first, let me tell you about our friends over at Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimum. Earn cash back rewards. You get 100% approval for all of your betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. And if you sign up this week, you'll get a free Refs or Terrorist t-shirt. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs to claim your free shirt. And of course, like I said, drop a line to the bosses. See if they'll give you a race officials are terrorist shirt, because that, my friends, is what we want here in the racing world. So anyways, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs to claim your shirt. This is, of course, the Underdog Fantasy episode of the week, and I'm going to give you all of our favorite Underdog Fantasy plays in just a second. So Underdog's going long for the NBA Finals with their extender bonus. Hop in game one, and the longer this series goes, the bigger the bonuses get. Like I said, we're going to give you all of our favorites, so hang tight. And in the meantime, if you haven't already, sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. It's time to bet on the ponies. You want me to stop? You did. I know. You probably just cringed in your seat, and that's fine. My daughters do it all the time. But bet the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga with Naira Bets. Sign up today using promo code SGPN25 and get a $25 free bet plus a $200 deposit match bonus. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just getting started, Naira Bets makes it easier to jump into the action. This exclusive offer is just for the Belmont Stakes, so do not wait. Join now. Claim your free $25 Belmont bet today at NYRABets.com/SGPN25. All right, well, it's time to save you some money and dip down into our low-tier drivers. Cody, starting you out with Tyrone Dillon. You've heard him say this before, and you've heard him. You're never gonna stop hearing him sing the praises of Tyrone Dillon. Something about Colleague, something about this 10 car, something about him driving this 10 car this season has got Cody entranced. 22.4 average finish this season. His average start 23.5, but he's been pretty decent at some comparable tracks, or some tracks that he, at the very least, are drivable for him. Phoenix got you a 16th place finish after a 25th place start. Martinsville, 28th place start, 15th place finish. Darlington, a 16th place finish after starting in 29th. So he's driven up through the pack. Texas, a couple of weeks ago, he started in 23rd, finished in 12th. Last week in Nashville, finished 26th after starting 31st. So, I mean, he's not blistering. He's not driving the wheels off of everything, but there has been speed in Colleague. We do know that AJ Allmendinger's been fast. We do know that he has had, been able to keep up with some folks here and there. So for him, for Cody, I'm sure his love of all things Colleague right now is really what's driving this train. Ty Dillon, 15th overall in terms of average finish on this track, as far as active drivers are concerned, 14th in 2022, 20th in 2023, did not do this in 2024. So, I mean, look, a couple of solid, a 14th place finish and a 20th place finish for Ty Dillon. Okay. I mean, there's something to be said there. Ty Dillon comes in at $5,100. And then you kind of look at what's below Ty Dillon, and you're just like, okay, well, Ty Dillon is the second cheapest driver on the slate. Cody Ware, Cody Ware is the lowest over there at $5,000. So Ty Dillon gets you 24.8 fantasy points per race this year. Got you 21 points last week at Nashville. The week before in Charlotte got you 25, 42 in Texas. So riding a string of 3 pretty solid DFS days for Tyrone Dillon in this 10 car. And again, if you kept the All-Star Open, he got to 49 points in that one. So a really good day at the All-Star Open. But, for a cheap driver to be able to at least get you 25 points, I mean, 20 points, I'll still take you. DFS is kind of strange, especially when you're going down into the lower end of it, when you're saying, I want more out of my lower drivers, my lower price drivers. I want more return on my investment. It doesn't take much to get there. However, a lot of these drivers are the backmarker drivers, and so they don't really improve their position a lot. So you're really just taking a chance on whether or not they can drive up into the top 15, or they can find a way to improve their position or get to the front through strategy, lead some laps, get some fast laps as they try to work their way through the field. Guys like Ty Dillon, they're the kind of drivers that you're taking a chance on, that has proven that they can do that on a, I don't want to say week-to-week basis, but at the very least, they've done it so far a few times this season, enough to make you want to bank on it. And a lot like what we were talking about with Zane Smith earlier, I think Ty Dillon is always a GPP play, because not a lot of people are throwing Ty Dillon into their lineup and hoping for great things, unless of course they're just going and scrolling to the end of the price listing and saying, okay, well, who's cheap? And then, okay, well, I don't want Cody Ware, I'll take Ty Dillon. Those are the guys that are putting them in there. But by and large, nobody who's, I think, studying a lot is throwing Ty Dillon into their lineup. So I think this is a great GPP play by Cody. $5,100 for Ty Dillon. I don't really talk about Todd Gilliland very much. I know our Discord, and if you're not in there yet, sg.pn/Discord, conversation's roaring over there. I'm telling you right now, there is so much going on. A lot of Dale Earnhardt talk right now. Comparisons to one of my favorite drivers on the track, tongue in cheek, of course. And talking about comparisons with him, lawsuit conversations going on, lots of philosophical conversations going on in that Discord. Make sure you get in there, have yourself a good time with it. But Todd Gilliland, kind of one of the Discord favorites. A lot of the folks in there like to bring him up for a lot of different things. Again, this is a Ford track for me. So all 3 of my DFS picks have been Fords, and it just really because they are the ones that sort of show out for this kind of thing. But Todd Gilliland is $5,700 for this slate. A little bit higher on the low end price than I like to usually give out. But in this instance, you can't really ignore it because Todd Gilliland, 33 points last week in Nashville, 44 the week before, 43 in Kansas, 54 in Texas, 24 at Talladega even. That's tough to do right there. He finished 18th in that race, 27, 50. So he's been on kind of a tear as of late as far as DFS purposes are concerned. I mean, finishes of 22nd, 18th, and then 12th, 11th, 18th, 35th, unfortunately, at Bristol, 14th, 10th, 30th, 29th. Todd Gilliland actually putting together some pretty solid runs over the course of the season. His average finish, 19th. His average start, 23.1. So, I mean, don't look now, but Todd Gilliland, 19th overall on the speed chart here for Michigan. Above names, mind you, like Denny Hamlin, like Carson Hocevar, like Eric Jones, like our friend Ryan Preece, Noah Gragson, Chase Briscoe, right? All these guys that we talk about, and there sits Todd Gilliland above all of them. And that's kind of a surprising spot for a guy like Todd Gilliland. However, he's got speed, right? He's got speed in this car. It's just a matter of where they end up finishing. And if we feel like Zane Smith is going to do something, then I feel like we got to kind of give props to Todd Gilliland as well in this particular race. So get out your pen and paper. I'm going to go over our DFS plays for the FireKeepers Casino 400. Cody started you out with Denny Hamlin at $10,700. I gave you Ryan Blaney at $10,500. Cody gave you Chris Buescher at $7,800. I said Zane Smith at $6,400 was my mid-tier driver. Cody gave you Tyrone Dillon at $5,100 as his low-price driver. I gave you Todd Gilliland at $5,700 as my low-price driver for this race at Michigan. All right, it is time to move on to Underdog Fantasy and give you all of our favorite Underdog Fantasy plays for this race. But first, allow me to tell you about our friends over at Circa. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like a VIP for your entire stay. You're going to get a limo ride from the airport, a $5,000 tab for stadium swim, and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. And you can always get 15% off of all the Circa properties with promo code SGPN15. Enter the ultimate fantasy football contest for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. Well, you've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and as a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out our Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know that we will be looking right now at the Nationals at Diamondbacks right now. The Power Trend, Jake Irvin, starting pitcher, over 3.5 strikeouts at -106. That is the Power Trend that I am liking the most. That is the bet. That is a winning bet, the strikeouts, all that stuff going down. You can find out what it means to even know any of that over right now at Rhythm. So make sure you get over there at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every single sport, including the NBA Finals. For the true DGen, the MyBookie money bag. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. You got easy deposit, lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. Told you, wrestling right around the corner. Money in the bank. We got Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso taking on John Cena and Logan Paul. I'm telling you right now, I hate Logan Paul. Love John Cena, hate Logan Paul. So I'm going to take Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, even at -130, to win this tag team match. Cody's going to get a little bit of revenge on John Cena for unseating him as the champion and take the tag teams. Well, it's really not the title, but at least win the tag team match over John Cena and Paul Logan. Find that over at mybookie.ag. With promo code SGPN, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. I got to tell you, if you're watching live on YouTube, I know who drives this train. Nobody said a word. Cody, man, buddy, they love talking to you more than they love talking to me. And that's okay, because I love talking to you too. So I completely understand where they're coming from. But yeah, this is this is a solo episode, and we're having fun talking about all of our favorite Underdog Fantasy plays and our favorite DFS plays, which now we will move over to the Underdog Fantasy plays for this slate. Remember, if you haven't signed up yet, sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. It's simple. All you got to do. The Underdog projections teams gives you projected finishing positions for each driver, and you just have to pick whether or not it's higher than or lower than wherever they finish, right? Do they finish higher? Do they finish lower? Do they not finish at all? Which I guess means they finish lower. But you pick that, you stack up all the multipliers, and watch them go. Cody always builds it up for us and tells us exactly where each one of these sits. However, because I'm alone, I'm literally just going to read them off, and you're going to figure out from there how high your multiplier is going to get. All right, Cody starts off with Brad Keselowski, in keeping with the tradition of our RFK bets here. Brad Keselowski, his finishing position over at Underdog is set at 12.5. Well, I guess you can guess where Cody's going to go with this one. He's going better than 12.5 for Brad Keselowski. I mean, I understand where he's coming from, because obviously we talk a lot about the fact that this is a Ford track. He knows that RFK's got speed. He's going to point to the 11th place at Vegas. He's going to point to crashed out of Kansas, which is mini Michigan, but the bounce back in Charlotte, that he ended up getting 5th in Charlotte a couple weeks ago, started 6th in Nashville, kind of got shuffled out and ended up finishing 23rd. So, I mean, Cody's got a lot to say about the Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher world, and just the fact that they have been doing well all over the place. If you look at the speed ranking chart here at iFantasy Race, Brad Keselowski in 8th place overall. And to me, again, that shows that he got speed here. His next gen average finishes here, he's 4th overall in that, with an average finish of 8th place, 15th in 2022, 4th in 2023, 5th in 2024. So Cody would say he was better than the last 2 seasons of this particular racetrack. So stands to reason that he can do it again. And you're getting such a low number like 12.5. Of course, he's going to be able to blow that out of the water. And I will nod and agree with him in this one as well. But I don't feel Brad Keselowski at all. I would probably take the worse than side of this. However, I will not go against my co-host's wishes, and I'm going to give you his Brad Keselowski better than 12.5. But I also, again, I can also make the case for that, where he has done this in the last couple of seasons on this track. Stands to reason he should be able to do it again. Maybe that little Ford boost that you get, I don't know, maybe he gets the push to pass this week, like the IndyCar drivers do. I don't know. I don't know what little concoction he's got, but Brad Keselowski better than 12.5 is where Cody's going with his first pick. So I will roll with him on that one. This one was a little tough for me, because I really do, we know that we love ourselves some Hendrick Motorsports, and we also know that Alex Bowman is almost one of those continual top 10 guys that we always talk about. But unfortunately, it's just not really been that way for him on some of these tracks that he needs to be on this one. I know that Alex Bowman is put at his finishing position is 13.5. And if you look at Alex Bowman's season, his average finish 19.1. He's had 3 just atrocious weeks in the last 4 races. Crashed out at Texas, finished 35th. Bounced back at 5th at Kansas, which again, I know it's mini Michigan, but I still, 29th at Charlotte, 36th at Nashville. It's just a little tough to swallow when I feel like his top 10 status is not necessarily all that solid anymore. And if you go back to Martinsville, 27th at Martinsville, 35th at Darlington, 37th at Bristol after starting on the pole, pops up and gets a 7th place at Talladega, but again, finishes 35th at Texas again. And it's just not really, I don't feel good about Alex Bowman in this one. His speed ranking 13th overall, as far as our friends at iFantasy Race. His average finish here, that is what actually brings a lot of pause to me. His average finishing in the next gen era, 23. right? Ninth place in 2022, and then followed that up with a 33rd and a 27th. So something about the last couple of seasons on this track. I mean, you could point to Brad Keselowski and say he had 2 good finishes, so maybe a third will happen. But for Alex Bowman, it's like you couple the last 4 weeks with what he's done at Michigan over the last couple of seasons, and it doesn't leave me feeling like he's going to be a top 13 car this particular race. So I'm going to go ahead and take Alex Bowman worse than 13.5. And again, I know it's tough because you always consider Alex Bowman one of the top 10 contenders this season, but it just feels like there hasn't been a whole lot to cheer about in the 48 camp right now. So yeah, unfortunately, Alex Bowman worse than 13.5 for me. And then talked about Denny Hamlin into the DFS part of this. Well, now we'll turn to him into the underdog part of this. Cody is taking Denny Hamlin better than 5.5. I mean, we already talked about Denny Hamlin and how fast he is and how his finishes have been good here. And again, really all you're wanting him to do is just sort of pick up the pieces from the last few weeks that have been sort of hampering his ability to run the way he's supposed to be. But I think what Cody's kind of turning to here is just the win at Martinsville, the win at Darlington, the last third place finish here at Nashville. Maybe he's building off of that. Maybe he just has this extra speed now with all of the rage of the lawsuits that are going on, and that's fine. I can see that. It's just, I think it's gonna be tough for Denny Hamlin to keep it all together, even though he finished third in Nashville. I know he's fast around this track. I know he's been okay around this track. And like I said, the average finish, he's the best here, third, and ninth. So he's done this 3 straight seasons. But this is a lot of mixed as far as what have you done for me lately. So anyways, Cody's giving you Denny better than 5.5. I'll co-sign reluctantly. I think it's going to be a lot of work for him, but I think, if anybody can do it, he can do it. Much to the chagrin of our friend Marcus, I'm going to have to, with a heavy heart, take Christopher Bell in this one, and I'm not taking the better than. His finishing position is set at 8.5. I'm going to take the worse than in this one. Christopher Bell, I know, look, I get it. His average finish is 10.9. I just don't know why I'm not giving Christopher Bell too much credit as far as where I think he's going to finish. 8.5 is fine, but when you look at his average finishes on this track, and I mean, again, like, I know you can go back and you can say, Rod, he finished this and he finished this, but on this track, 24.7 in the next gen era is Christopher Bell's average finishing position. 26th in 2022, 13th in 2024, 35th in 2024. 2 out of 3 seasons on this track, he has not gotten this done. I know he's been running well. I know that he just finished 10th last week in Nashville, 8th at Charlotte, 2nd at Kansas, Mini Michigan. But there are certain tracks that have people's numbers, right? And for whatever reason, this track has Christopher Bell's number in the next gen era, especially. So I'm not, can he do it? Of course, he's Christopher Bell. He's done it almost every single week. He won 3 in a row earlier in the season. He had a string of top 10 finishes between Martinsville and Bristol. I mean, yes, Christopher Bell can get it done. I just don't know that I'm confident that an 8th place finish for Christopher Bell on this track where he really hasn't finished all that well. 13th was his best finish, right? On this track in the next gen era. That's not better than 8.5. So I think you're getting a little bit of a great deal here to be able to take the worst then on this Christopher Bell 8.5. And again, like I said, if he does it, it's not going to surprise me. However, I just don't know that I trust him on this particular track. So, all right. Last but not least for Cody, he's giving you Josh Berry, that beautiful 21 car, that Wood Brothers car. He's giving Josh Berry. Now, what's funny is that this whole thing is switched, right? It used to be that Cody would give you the worst thens, and I would give you the better thens. Well, now it just feels like it's flipped, and Cody's giving you all the better thens, and I'm giving you the worst thens. I don't know if I caught the negative bug from Cody, and he caught the positive bug from me. I don't know how it happened, but here we are. So, but Cody giving you Josh Berry better than 13.5. He loves him some Wood Brothers, man. And why not? Look, his average finish this season, 21.7, 30th at Nashville last week, but 12th at Charlotte, 6th at Kansas. And that 6th at Kansas was no fluke. He would started 38th and drove himself all the way up to 6th place. So a great run for Josh Berry there. And I mean, take a shot every time you hear either one of us from now on say Kansas is mini Michigan. But that's just really the comp track that Cody loves to go back to. He won at Las Vegas earlier, obviously, this season. So we know the 21 car is competitive. We know that he is definitely somebody that you can count on for a good, solid run. He's a Ford driver, by the way. So if that narrative drives you at all, then you should take that as well and run with it. Josh Berry, I mean, I'm not really even going to read off his average finishes here at Michigan because they kind of don't really matter in that he's driving a much, much different car than he was before. So, yeah, Josh Berry, he's going to be in there. He's going to be in the mix. He's going to be one of those better Fords. And if you're only asking him to crack the top 13, I think there's some hope in that. And I think, Josh Berry has all the upside to be one of those top 10 drivers by the end of the day. And so I like this one. I actually like this one. This isn't one that I'm saying I like and I'm lying about. So Josh Berry better than 13.5 for Cody to close out his Underdog Fantasy slip. As for me, I'm a glutton for punishment. I like to cheer for things that I probably don't think are going to happen, but Joey Logano, I'm going to go with Joey Logano, the hardest guy to figure out in the garage. However, I think a top 10 finish is in line for Joey Logano on this track. And I think that could be a better than 9.5 finish for Joey Logano. Again, the season, it's an odd season. I get it. I know the narrative. I've said the narrative time and time again. Odd season, Joey Logano. Not somebody you necessarily always want to hitch your wagon to. However, he just did finish 4th at Nashville. Had a rough go of it at Charlotte, but 9th at Kansas, right? That's better than 9.5. He won at Texas, and 8th at Martinsville. I mean, only 4 top 10s, which is kind of rough for Joey Logano. But for me, like I said, this is a Ford race. I'm thinking that this is going to be so Joey Logano on this track, 4th place finish in 2022, 14th place finish in 2023, 33rd in 2024. So kind of a decline in performance for Joey Logano. But I think really what we're looking at is that momentum that he's going to build from Nashville. And for Joey Logano, he could finish 90th and no one would be surprised. Yeah, out of 36 cars, he can finish 90th. And people would be like, yeah, that's about right. People, he finished at the end of 4 different races and put him in 90th place, but he could come out and again, like he did, win at Texas or finish 4th at Nashville. And if we think this is going to be a Ford race, especially a Penske race, especially a Blaney type of a race, then I really believe that Joey Logano has the potential. And I had to give you a better than, right? I mean, I'd at least give you one better than to sort of make it to where we're ending on a high note. But Joey Logano is that better than for me, and I think he's going to finish better than 9.5 in this race. All right, let's give you the Underdog Fantasy Play. So get out your pen and paper as we go over our Underdog Fantasy Plays for this FireKeepers Casino 400. I got to remember the S. Sorry, FireKeepers Casino 400. Cody gave you Brad Keselowski better than 12.5. I said Alex Bowman would finish worse than 13.5. Cody said that Denny Hamlin would finish better than 5.5. Much to Marcus's dismay, I gave you Christopher Bell worse than 8.5. Cody gave you Josh Berry better than 13.5. And I said Joseph Logano would finish better than 9.5. There we have it. I made it through a solo show, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think that I could do it without Cody because, let's face it, I'm tired of listening to myself talk for 45 minutes. I don't know how you're doing it, but I love you for it if you've made it all the way through this show. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. We are getting ever so close to that 1,000 subscriber mark. It would be so great to reach that by, I don't know, whatever deadline makes you feel good. I want to reach that very, very soon. That way we can have the claim to fame that we have reached 1,000 subscribers. And I can tell my kids that I made it. No, I'm just kidding. They still wouldn't be impressed. They don't care if I get 10,000 subscribers. They wouldn't be impressed. But I am, and I'm impressed by you listening each and every week. So thank you very much for all of that. You guys are going to be happy because Cody will be back on Tuesday when we do our Cup episode. And there will be much more banter and much more fun. So everybody, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Michigan. Enjoy the trucks. Enjoy the Cup. And have yourself a great old time. We will be back on Tuesday to talk Mexico City. That's going to be an exciting one, so hang tight for that one. Again, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Well, actually, follow Cody on Twitter at Husker_Zeeb. Tell him how much you absolutely missed him and that you cannot wait for him to come back because I am a horrible solo podcaster. So make sure you make Cody feel good by telling him, yeah, bud, this show's not the same without you, because I feel it too. And then follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in about everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's in between media. Make sure you go check out Seth and Elliot as they break down Michigan for you as well. And then, of course, I'll be on with them next week to talk about Mexico City and all that fun stuff. Got some CFL stuff up there, just all kinds of fun things to follow over there on Twitter for me. All right, we'll be back again next week. Love you all. Good luck this weekend. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.